Where is the weirdest or most inappropriate place you have had an orgasm? Went to a Halloween party when I was 14ish. It was at my brother's best friend's house. Well, his best friend had a sister around my age. And she was dressed as a witch with a skirt and long stockings. We were just watching movies downstairs. And I was laying on my stomach. And she came and laid on my back. Long story short, she was teasing me by licking my ear. And I came in my pants. Halloween makes adolescent teens horny for some reason. Work. I work alone and close down for an hour for lunch. Close the garage doors. Stand out in the middle of the garage and just jerk. Pretty great feeling. 8th grade. Week-long field trip to DC. We stopped at Monticello, and as we stopped I awoke from a wet dream sitting next to my good friend at the time. Was wearing khaki shorts, and yes, it was visible. Nobody noticed though, I hope. Oh, I stopped jizzing up my beautiful city. During Hurricane Sandy, I walked out of my back door and jerked off into the wind. I'm not proud. Yes, I am. My boyfriend just told me last night that he'd stick his penis in the jets at the public pool to get off when he was like 8-11 years old. Children at the pool will never look the same to me. All through late elementary school and early middle school. Probably every day. I press my junk against the edge of the desk and moved side to side really gently until I orgasmed and kept a straight face. I called it wiggling. I had to stop once I gained the ability to shoot loads. Plus 120 XP. You have achieved level 7. New skill. 30 feet up a tree. To preface this, I am female and have the sometimes awesome ability to orgasm by pressing my thighs together. I was riding a bus on a 2-seater seat. I'm sitting next to the window and a very overweight lady took the next seat. She really took up 3/4 of the seat, and I was literally pressed against the wall of the bus with my legs clamped together. We hit a bumpy stretch of road about halfway into the ride. Well, thighs pressed together. Bumpy road leading to good friction, and thankfully, I didn't moan or anything. But I'm sure she wondered why I was breathing so heavily. Navy boot camp in a room full of 80+ smelly dudes. Are these two things correlated in any way? Girl from Tinder I was talking to was at the hospital because her dad wasn't doing so well. It was getting pretty late and she messaged that she was hungry. Long story short, I brought her some McDonald's. Ate her dad briefly, then ate her in the parking garage of the hospital while her dad was a floor above us dying. In a rental car in the parking lot of the tiny little airport in Columbia, Missouri. I got stranded there, so my boyfriend rented a car to come pick me up from Springfield. I guess we were excited to see each other. Hospital waiting room. Got freaked out cause I couldn't stop coming. And they don't stop coming. The zoo. Edit. My high school GF gave me a handy at the zoo. I didn't have sex with a penguin. I hope not with a resident. Bathroom of every job I've ever had. At the cash register of my job while I was just sitting there. The store was dead. And I was trying to do that meditation thing where you try to give yourself an orgasm just by thinking about it. At the time I was having a super hot back and forth with a guy I had been texting for a while. We hadn't hooked up, but had this crazy sexual tension for like a year because we had worked together. We were texting all morning. And well, I was able to achieve mindfulness. That was the only time I was able to do that. Weirdest was in the middle of the road. What can I say, we were young and horny and walking down a road one night. Luckily no cars came. During a college exam that I was sure I was going to fail. I was sitting there, panicking over not knowing the answers, when my thighs just started trembling. The more I panicked, the more intense the throbbing became. Edit. OFC, my top comment is about my getting off during a test. Ah well. Could be worse. That's an unfortunate fetish. Inside my best friend's sister. I somehow managed to make myself orgasm from squeezing my thigh while sitting down during study hall. I could feel I was almost there. So I kept trying to get there just to see if it was possible. Yes. It was amazing. It was super intense. Got 2. 1. 70 miles per hour heading north from Virginia in the backseat of my grandparents' car. 2. Was lighting tech for high school drama club. Rubbed one out in the middle of a performance. In the lighting booth. With a full theater. Slowly realizing how much of a freak I am. Have done most of these. Except Cleveland. My dad picked me and my GF up from a movie and needed to make a stop at the church. So we had sex in the parking lot of a church. He was therefore awake. A threesome with your dad before awake is pretty ed up. In the middle of class in high school. I positioned my rock hard willy on my leg and did that leg bounce thing on the ball of my foot. It felt pretty good and I had a class with a very attractive, very annoying girl who I would glance at occasionally. So that helped. Anyhow. There in front of God and everyone I shot a sticky load straight down my leg. Which of course started to seep through my pant leg. After class I tactfully held my backpack in front of me as I scurried off to the bathroom and cleaned up best I could. Luckily it was the last period so I could wait until the halls were relatively deserted to leave. No hands masturbation. Why didn't I think of this before? In a movie theater while watching the movie High Crimes. We waited until an hour in it. No one else was in there. And the usher had already done his count so he wasn't coming back in. She wore a skirt. He moved the armrests up and she climbed on top of me. It was good sex. And it was the first time I came inside my girlfriend. I was at a club in my drunken haze with a recently divorced woman friend of mine. She ended up dancing really hard against me and I got rock solid. She felt it and took my hand leading me out of the club. We found the closet dark alleyway which happened to be quite narrow. About 4 steps in she ran into someone's bicycle. She bent over it and grabbed the handlebars. She looked back expectingly. I proceeded to pull up her dress. Wet my willy and made that bicycle our 3rd and 4th wheel. A funeral home. I used a date hookup with a young lady who worked for one of those cleaning companies that go into banks, offices, libraries, etc. after hours and clean up, and one night she was sent to clean up at a funeral home that was near my home. Since she was by herself and felt a little creeped out, even though there were no bodies there while she was working, she called me and I went over to hang out with her. Before the job was over, I had her bent over a display casket. I'm going to hell for this and I know it, but it was awesome. At work. While working directly across from a 62-year-old woman. I was assisting my BF and we basically had cyber sex. That was a bad one. Edit because I wasn't assisting the woman across from me. On a picnic table in the backyard of an army major whose daughter I was seeing. She was kneeling. It was dark. I was a Marine. The implications of getting caught. And what would have happened to me? During dinner at a restaurant with my husband's family. I started taking a new medication for anxiety and it affected my sex drive in a strange way. I suddenly had no control over it and felt incredibly turned on. It was so weird. I told my husband and he was laughing. Not sure if anyone knew, but I was really embarrassed. Happened on a prom night. My girlfriend was riding me in the backseat of a friend's car with a friend and her date in the front seat. When asked if we were having sex, my girlfriend said she was just dancing to the music. We eventually got out of the car and finished on the edge of a cliff overlooking an ocean. The sky was completely clear and the view was amazing. On a mortuary slab. Round where I grew up. There is a slate quarry that has been turned into a museum. Including the old hospital and mortuary. Snuck up there one night with my GF at the time. Blowjob in a cemetery next to a busy parkway. Monica Lewinsky'd all over her shirt. Afterwards she went home to her parents' house and when they asked about the stains she told them it was fettuccine alfredo sauce from dinner. We still laugh about that to this day. Airport bathroom. I took MDMA before a Tisto concert in college. When I was at the peak, he played Secrets and the drop sounded so incredible that I literally came in my pants without any physical stimulation. Well beside the bass buzzing in my cock. Edit. My highest rated comment is about me jizzing my pants on ecstasy. Thanks guys. I used to steal various PRN mags tapes from my brothers and sell them in school. I was sat in class one day and started sneakily browsing one of the mags in my bag. Like a ninja. I did my business in the back of the class. Forgot the number one rule. Don't get high off your own supply. In a bomb crater. Driving down the highway. Making my way downtown. Think it was like 10th or 11th grade. Had a speech teacher who was hot as. One day she dropped something and bent over to pick it up. It wasn't like a seductive bend down or anything, but it completely set me off. She had a walk-in closet that she sold fundraiser candy out of, so I went in there. Held the doorknob behind me and went at it in my pants. It didn't take longer than 30 seconds to finish. I nutted into my hand, then wiped it on the inside of a jacket that was in there. I'm pretty sure it was the teacher's jacket. I then bought some candy for like 25 cents and went to the restroom to wash my hand off. I felt like everyone knew. Cleveland. You disgust me. That would be in the butt. Bob. When I was 14 or so, my girlfriend at the time gave me a blowjob in the back of our family SUV going down the road with my mom, dad, and elderly grandmother sitting not 5 feet in front of us. At some point I had to stop her because a car got behind us and the headlights were shining through and the shadow of her head bobbing up and down was on the front dash. My like 85-year-old grandmother said shortly thereafter, "I hate being on the road on nights like this." She knew. Sportswear store fitting room. Also under a boat. Was the boat in water? Deployed supervising 300 foreign workers on a job site. I was having sex with my supervisor. A very attractive redhead every chance I had. Her and I were in this little shack with an AC in the window and we had 360 view out all sides of the shack so that we could monitor the workers and radio out whatever was needed. I remember having sex and literally watching the workers to make sure none of them looked over at our shack. That was a different feeling. In a theater showing of Planet Earth. In Paris. In the Louvre. Found a cheeky alcove and while standing upright. Very much on edge. My boyfriend played my clitor until I came. It was excellent. Username checks out. Urologist's office getting a prostate exam. She wasn't even that hot and I had to drive 60 miles to find a female because all the men have hands like lunch boxes. No. No effing way, them ham hocks going up my asshole. Kind of boring, but back alley behind a CVS. Was going away on a year-long trip to a foreign country. Got to talking on the way to the part and the girl I was with decided she was gonna give me a proper goodbye. So we stop at a CVS. Slip around back. And try to have sex as quietly as possible behind a dumpster as people walk by not 15 feet away. In hindsight, we probably should have stopped inside to buy a pack of condoms first. But I was young and stupid. Luckily nothing came of it. And by God, it was probably the best sex I've had in my life just because of the fact that it was a surprise she was willing to do it. And the thrill of potentially getting caught. It really was the perfect farewell gift. I thought about her a lot while I was away. I actually accidentally discovered masturbation in the middle of math class in 7th grade. Did it almost every day for a semester. The orgasms were very mild though. And no one could really tell. When I was a little girl I used to masturbate in school daily. Had no idea what I was doing, of course. I could just kind of move my legs in a certain way and it would happen. Graveyard. TBH. Surprised there aren't more graveyards here. It's up there with a Sebanston in rural UK. Not me. But my wife. We had a friend and her daughter coming over for a playdate with our little girl. So we had a quickie a little while before they showed up. We didn't want to be that couples who was all touchy-feely in front of the kids. So we figured we'd get it out of our systems beforehand. All good and well at first. The girls are playing and my wife and our friend are talking. I'm in the kitchen. And I hear my wife say, "Hey babe. Can you come here? Like right now." I get over to her and ask what she needs. And she says, "Kiss me now." So I give her a big kiss and she moans. Later that night when we were in bed, my wife says, "Thank God you kissed me. I had some aftershocks building up and I was about to have an orgasm." She asked me to kiss her so it would muffle her moaning. So yeah. Wife had an orgasm during a playdate with our friend. During an AP English final. I don't wanna talk about it. The college bored all of us. Man. I'm not even joking. I legit just went outside in my backyard to see if I'm into masturbating in public. I check my phone real quick and a credit refreshes. I really didn't think I'd ever tell this story. Much less while preparing to have the story to tell in the first place. Edit. I did it. I dropped my pants and I was instantly turned on. Climax was pretty okay. Also like 10 minutes after I went back inside it was pouring rain. A relatively full movie theater. All the kids are doing it. Are you not? The toilets at the Vatican. 80 miles an hour along I-70 as it goes through Kansas. Fell asleep on a subway in Japan and had a wet dream about having a threesome with 2 Japanese girls in a subway train. And he still thinks that he fell asleep. In a bush in an alley. Edit. The George Bush political jokes are stale. Must have been the 70s. In the school cafeteria when just me and my GF had free time. Church. The bathroom at the Walt Disney World campground. Suffolk. Earlier today. Boyfriend made me squirt all over my couch at the exact same time my dad arrived home. I have never cleaned a couch sprayed air freshener that quick in my life. Was purposely talking dirty to him on the phone while he was on his was over. He started it though. Pacific Ocean. Also my first girlfriend who was 34 when I was 20 liked to get me off in public places. One time was under the table at a friend's birthday party. Another time was in her bed while she was on the phone with a friend. Man, those were cool times. On the sofa in the middle of the living room while people were milling about the house. I mean, I don't think I did it when people were actually right there. Or even in a line of sight. I think there might have been. Maybe 3 people tops. One in the kitchen. And the rest somewhere else. Point is, I could have been walked in on at any time. Didn't mind at the time because I was 8 or so. I only had the faintest idea of what it was I was really doing. Only knew that it felt good. I was fully clothed. And was dry humping the sofa. Emphasis on dry. I didn't have my first ejaculation until I was 13. That sounds both adorably innocent and unbearably awkward. Graveyard. And found another necrophile. I was getting a ride back to my hometown from a friend and her preacher father. It was a 2-day trip so there was plenty of time for shenanigans. As we're driving, she positioned herself in the front seat so she could reach me in the back. As we drove along she would reach back and jerk me off just shy of coming. Another friend who was with us would hold up a map like he was tracking our route. So her dad couldn't see. She edged me right up to it several times. Finally we stopped for dinner and we said we were going out for a smoke. She finished me behind the dumpster at McDonald's. Somewhere in Nebraska. This story has many holes. Nowhere. Never had an orgasm. I'm 24. That's the weirdest one right there. School bathroom. Multiple times. Also when I was younger I used to orgasm underneath this blanket on one of our couches with people in the room. Nobody noticed as I was very good at hiding it. Still kind of creeps me out though. Are you sure no one noticed, or did you just think no one noticed? They knew. Edit. Calm down. Nothing bad happened. I was thinking about other stuff while fapping. I was at a family Christmas party. And my family likes to have those in poolside hotel rooms so the kids in the family can swim and we don't have to clean the house. Once I was done swimming for the night, I took a quick shower to get the chlorine off of me. And my teenager hormones kicked in and I fapped. Did that while everyone else was sitting around a table and chatting. Stairwell at work. No, I wasn't masturbating. I was just walking up the stairs. Or maybe in the office at the church. Wet dream in a plane to Austin. Bernie? While dreaming. In the shallows of a tropical ocean. Sometimes in my partner. Sometimes just into the current. Feels good, man. Backseat of my ex's parents' car on a busy street. At my internship in a basement of a house. You can't say that and then not elaborate. In a park with my girlfriend holding a tree. Why was your girlfriend holding a tree? Inside that guy's wife who died. I also choose this guy's dead wife. University building stairwell. I can one up this a bit. Middle school stairwell. During a fight. Full disclosure. I was actually already rubbing one out in the latrine of our cop, near Lashkargah, where we were operating in support of the British forces at Bastion, when we started taking fire. Blew my load just as the first rocket hit the hillside below one of our MG positions. That was an experience. Edit. Obligatory, this is my rifle. At my GF. Now wife's family pool. Visiting another country with her. We were 18 and 19. Staying with her aunt and 4 female cousins. My GF and I were in the pool while her cousins laid out in the sun to tan. My GF went close to the edge to join into the conversation with her cousins. I came behind her like we were hugging and slid in. Slow thrusts for a while until her cousin with the big tits sat up and then. No one knows. I don't think. We were, really good at eyeing quietly with people near us. They knew. New Jersey. You make me sick. When I was a teenager, I didn't know how to swim, so my mom thought it would be best if I got swimming lesson. First day there, the swimming instructor had me practice kicking. She held me up as I kicked. Well, she had large flotation devices that was rubbing against me. I felt a boner coming. So I'm kicking half distracted and my legs starts to drop, so she adjusts one of her hands to keep my legs up. It's pretty much right on my boner and I released my eggs a few seconds later. Behind an IHOP on Christmas. IHOP. World Youth Day 2006. The Pope gives a mass to all thousands of teenagers. I got my first handy underneath a blanket. GF at the time wanked me off on a staircase in the Sistine Chapel. I miss her. In my pants while still too young to know WTF just happened. I was alone at my house, so no awkward public orgasm. One summer when I was 14. After an injury that left both my arms incapacitated. Your mom was so kind to you. In a classroom in a church. Later found out my friend did the same thing in the same room. Damn, that priest really got around hard. The girl I was seeing at the time was asked by her father on Thanksgiving to go out and get some bell peppers. She rings me up and I meet her at her other house, where she tells me I need to park since there was no more parking at the current house. I arrive. Walk in. And there she is. S11ly sprawled out on the spiral staircase by the fireplace. She and I make love for about 2 hours before finally wrapping up and heading over to her current house, where all the rest of her family and friends are waiting. Only thing. We totally didn't get bell peppers before returning, so it turned into this whole thing where her dad called us out in front of everyone. High fives were had amongst my friends. But her family was a little more angsty, seeing as they were hungry after having waited for us. TL. DR. Had sex for 2 hours with now ex while her family awaited our return with groceries. Only to forget the groceries and get called out in front of the entire extended family. I miss that girl. She was wild. My ex's house. My ex was still completely head over heels for his ex, so when he invited me over to hang out with him and his ex, I decided I'd jizz on his bathroom wall and leave. All in all, it's just another stain on the wall. When I was about 16, my mom drugged me along to a meeting for her pyramid scheme. It works. And it was at a church. I was the only male there. Also the only one under 30 years old. I sat one row back from the last person in the crowd. IDKY, but I just whipped it out and went at it. Any of the women could have turned around at any time, but I got away with it. I guess it worked.